November, Milan seemed like creatures from another planet, and yet Inter held them to this 1-1 draw. Of the utmost quality. Montalan, headed away by Maldini. Here's D'Agostini, an early shot. Oh, a catastrophe for Antonioli. And Inter have been presented with an equaliser. Five months on, Milan have made 4 changes from that side. Goalkeeper Antonioli did soon lose out to the more experienced Rossi. Albertini has developed since November and is ahead of Donadoni these days. Marco van Basten, of course, has been missing for 4 months now, but Jean-Pierre Papin stands comparison and now matches Van Basten's 12 goals for the season so far. One other alteration, maybe a cautious change today. Eranio getting the edge ahead of Massaro in the mind of coach Fabio Capello. Inter for some while now have been without 2 of the team which drew with Milan here in the autumn, Riccardo Ferri and Alessandro Bianchi. But the spirit is much stronger than then, bolstered by 13 league games without defeat. Toto Schillaci showed signs that he's regaining his sharpness. 2 goals last week away to Sampdoria. And the side is still under the control of Sergio Made, with Osvaldo Bagnoli convalescing. Made, a former Milan player. 7 points the difference. Inter's target to cut it to 5 and put some late pressure on the defending champions. Pierluigi Pairetto is the referee. The pitch has been soaked by heavy rain. For those of you who like to consult the records when the derbies come around, it's 88 to Milan, 76 to Inter in all competitions. That includes a victory this season in the quarter-final of the Italian Cup. In league games, it's Milan 51 wins, Inter 45. With 43 drawn. It's the 140th league derby. The 2 number 7s in close proximity, Orlando and Lentini. Sergio Made, as I was saying, standing up there, a former Milan player who settled the derby back in 1966 with an own goal. He'd be much happier if the score that day, 1-0 to Inter, was repeated this afternoon. Headed on by Schillaci, who goes again here. Milan, I'm sure, very mindful of Ruben Sosa, who really has been a star turn for Inter in attack. Battistini to Manicone. 4 is Nicola Berti, trying to catch Milan pushing up and drop the ball over a square back line, but they were too wily for that, and Tassotti had turned around to make sure he was going to win it, and he raced towards his own goal. Milan having gone 4 games without a win, 3 draws and the 1 defeat they've suffered all season at home to Parma. They haven't lost an away game, and technically this is another under that heading. What it does mean is that Inter get the greater share of the tickets, the home dressing room. Whether they get the result that they want is in their own hands. Tassotti. D'Agostini, who scored that unusual equaliser for Inter here in November. Passions inflamed everywhere you look. Schillaci's never a shrinking violet in that respect. And Tassotti wasn't too concerned about the ball, you suspected that. Taken by Ruben Sosa. It's a fine leap by Berti, and Shalimov coming in, and well matched in the end, just by Albertini, who gets the passive congratulations. Otherwise it would have been Shalimov who would have been celebrating. Straightforward ball by Ruben Sosa, marvellous leap by Berti. Shalimov anticipating it and nearly converting it. Inter doing well in the air again. Back by Paganini. Look at Milan streaking out. Ruben Sosa trying to get round the side of them. Fabio Capello having steered Milan into the European Cup final 4 days ago with their win in Gothenburg. Their 6th final in the Champions Cup, 3 in the last 5 years. One of those years, of course, when they were suspended from European competition, which brought sighs of relief all round. Rival clubs in rival countries. Eranio, here's Gullit. Really is the kind of pitch where passing has got to be very precise. You feel that the ball's got to be overhit because of the wetness on the top. This is Lentini, looking to slalom his way, as they say in Italy, with that solo run. A fast and furious 15 minutes. Did we expect anything less? Lentini again, exclusively on the left so far, and he might be away here. Spotting Eranio on the edge of the area. Albertini. Cassotti was a little on the sluggish side. Balls though for Rijkaard. Tassotti. Schillaci, so encouraged by his 2 goals last weekend in Genoa. Started the season well enough, then was injured, and the type of player who needs to be 100% fit, relies so much on speed and fine-tuning of movement. Nothing particularly finely tuned about that challenge by Maldini on Berti. And it's a free kick to Inter, which their former Milan defender Sergio Battistini will take. Rijkaard doing the defending, helped on by Papin. Plenty of time for Paganini. There's too much time. But he picked out a good enough pass. Wasn't matched by the control from Schillaci. Cut off well by De Agostini. Costa Curta lofting it the second time onto the head of Gullit. Tassotti. Baresi, such a stalwart in these fixtures down the years since the late 70s. Lentini. Leaving Orlando again. That's a fine run. And Zenga was left in no man's land. But the match has been pretty tight. But one area where Milan will feel there's some promises here with Gianluigi Lentini. He came off the head of Bergami. Shalimov. Schillaci trying to dart through the centre. Sosa on the left. Maldini dogging the footsteps of Schillaci, rather forcing the error. On Maldini, who is a young colossus. He's been captaining Italy recently, with Baresi losing his place initially because of suspension. And that's Zenga, He did reach the ball this time, and he needed to, that far from home. Here is Franco Baresi. Immediately the ball's cleared, the Milan back line come out, try and congest the space in which Inter were looking to play in midfield. And there's a problem here for Tassotti, who isn't the type of character to make too much of anything unless it's serious. No, he's got to go off. It was really caused, it seemed, more by his own awkwardness. Whether that's a twisted knee or just a badly jarred one, they'll be checking now down on the bench, but there really is no opportunity here to allow the game to go on while Tassotti was working out on the pitch whether he could stay on. Nava replaces him straight away. Manicone. Next week Milan play Juventus here. And if Inter could win, that's the sort of fixture when, as Tassotti will be wondering now whether he'll be available next weekend. But if Inter were able to make further inroads into Milan's lead, which was at one point not too long ago, 11, that could rattle the nerves even more. So even though Milan have been received in so many quarters as champions in all but name, Sergio Made and his Inter players carry the hopes not just of themselves, but as Ruben Sosa shoots, but all those who want to see Milan's reign brought to a halt. A lot of jealousy, of course, with the billions of Berlusconi, and Ruben Sosa lifting into spirits with that shot. Albertini. That's the area Milan keep looking for. Lentini on the left. But he's stopped this time not by the opposition but by the referee's whistle. Here's Sosa. Shalamov. Manicone. 13 games unbeaten since December the 13th. Also a day that's ringed in the Milan diary. It was the day that Marco van Basten was injured. Still 0-0. Over the last 5 matches between them in Serie A, there's never been more than one goal to settle a match between Inter and Milan. But in the second leg of the quarter-final of the Italian Cup, Milan beat their old foes by 3-0. The circumstances much more compelling here. Milan then going out of the Italian Cup to Roma, which has been extra evidence really, if it has been needed, that they're not quite the team they were over the first part of the season. Not to be too critical, because if you had to pick one team from a club football anywhere in the world to win you a particular match, you would surely plump for the men of AC Milan. The two sides know so much about each other, seeking a way to exert some authority here. Well, Milan expected the whistle to go then. Certainly Rossi did. In the end, all he could do was concede a throw. That's Berti ploughing on. Well, Nicola Berti has a hot temper, and the Milan players believing that he made more of that than there was in the end. But it does sum up the passion about Inter's play. Slipped Costa Curta, realised Baresi was going to clear it, I'm sure. And referee Pareto, who's been involved in refereeing these derbies before, just clearing the air. And Berti gets a yellow card for trying to fool the referee. Well, it can't be for trying to fool the referee, it can only be for his reaction after the free kick was given, because the decision is in Berti's favour. So Sosa takes it. Oh, Berti has scored! Well, there's your answer. Zenga joins in the celebrations for Inter, and Nicola Berti came in on Ruben Sosa's free kick in the final minute here of the first half. A controversial free kick and a booking for Berti prior to the taking of it, and then a goal for Berti, just his in fact, because he beat Bergami to it. Underside of the bar, into the back of the Milan net, and in the back of Milan minds now will be, is it, could it fall apart for them in Serie A? Off goes Lentini. That's Zenga's. Well, back in the 90-91 season, Berti got a winning goal in the derby, and his ability to perform in such a testing atmosphere is well documented. Milan looked at one side of his character when they complained about the way that he reacted after being fouled, and the referee then complained about Berti's behaviour as well by booking him. But one thing about Nicola Berti is as soon as the game is restarted, he always gets on with the job with great effort and great determination. And that's a marvellous moment for him and for Inter, and they've got a free kick now. Still, the final whistle has not brought to an end the first half, and Rossi is not beaten a second time. You just wonder where the free kick came in, how culpable the goalkeeper was. Berti heading in from an area where Milan might have hoped Rossi would have been dominant. But it's in the record books now. And Papa is going to be in trouble here. And that adds to Milan's worries, because a yellow card means he will be suspended next weekend. Van Basten's had a recent setback, so he's not right yet to return. So they're going to have to manage against Juventus without the great Dutchman and the great Frenchman. And Papa, in all truth, having applauded sarcastically when the yellow card was brandished at him. Fortunate not to be sent off and leave Milan to fight this one out with 10 men. Maldini's header. Flags up. And hard to hear the whistle. It was Gullit who put it over in any case. But a first half that's been bubbling, boiling over in the closing stages. Nava. Albertini. Here's Gullit. Nava. That's nicely worked for Eranio. Can Milan equalise here? They had no one attacking the ball at the far post. And it was left to Bergami. Well, there can scarcely be time to take the corner here. Ooh, well, it was over Zenga. It dipped, but not quickly enough for Frank Rijkaard. Half-time whistle at San Siro. The might of Milan starting to slip. 4 games without a win in Serie A, and now a goal behind just on half-time too to keep Inter really fired up for the second half. And Berti heading in the goal from close range from Ruben Sosa's free kick. And Inter 13 games unbeaten, carrying on here. Inter 1, Milan 0 at half-time. Milan start the second half. All through the half-time break there have been conversations, huddles of fans from both sides trying to, I think first and foremost, wonder whether Inter are good enough to see it through to victory, but more than that, what are the ramifications if they do win? And Milan are cut back to a 5-point lead. The 2 yellow cards, Ruben Sosa and Berti for Inter. The 2 players involved in the game's only goal. And the crucial yellow card there for Papa, meaning suspension. And confirming Nava on for Mauro Tassotti, who left the game just before the half-hour mark with a damaged knee. Albertini. Well, both clubs have a section of fans who are rather too volatile for the liking of the authorities here. It's another reason why the behaviour of the players is so important, to set the right kind of example. For the most part, given the importance of the game, I must say they've kept their composure very well indeed. Gullit taking it away from Lentini. Not very involved down the right-hand side in the first 45 minutes, but coming in from the left there, making it happen for himself really with that little touch inside. Lentini was attracted to the same ball, but Gullit got his shot in. Ruben Sosa was coming back from an offside position. Well, you look around the Inter defences with Zenga and Bergami, of course, Battistini, who's been around a long time, De Agostini out on the left, Paganin, who's been a good replacement for Riccardo Ferri. That's what Milan have got to break down. Berti and the other midfield men will be trying feverishly to stop any sort of service up to Papa. Albertini, the 21-year-old, eventually will get the ball in the right place. And was trying for goal, although he didn't hit it particularly true. He tries again here, that's a better effort. May have been a deflection along the way. Zenga wasn't taking any chances with trying to hold it. Costa Curta. Foul given against Ruben Sosa. Well, it was an excellent second attempt here by Demetrio Albertini. And Zenga parrying it from the power, carrying the ball out of the penalty area off the goalkeeper. It's Albertini over the ball again, into leading 1-0. Still Albertini. And still, well, and look at the reaction from Bergami. It was Zenga's marvellous athleticism. It looked as though Albertini wouldn't be able to keep the ball in. I think it would have been a corner, but he didn't want to waste time for that. And Bergami, full of praise for his goalkeeper, and rightly so. Shalimov, the back heel from Albertini, who's doing more than most to try and get Milan back into this game. Push by Iranio, was it? Or was it obstruction by De Agostini? It's going to go Milan's way. Iranio negotiating that route close to the touchline and getting a corner. Who's there to take it? Albertini. Milan ahead on corners. Inter had the goal. Baresi. Costa Curta. Inter have to check back. They were starting to push out. They don't do that quite as well as Milan. So they've got bodies to defend the area around the penalty spot. And Sergio Made is going to make a substitution. Now this is Mirko Takola, who was also used as a substitute in the previous league derby this season in November. That in fact was his debut, signed from Pisa. He's a defender. Papa. Here's Iranio. Oh, and Lentini, just that extra bit of tension when you're behind. Control that would normally come naturally, not there when it's needed. And a mess up in midfield by Milan. And down goes Ruben Sosa, dumped down by Albertini. Who was very late. The second change for Milan, the first forced upon them, but now Massaro comes on for Papa, who just hasn't been able to get into the game. And Massaro, who scored the winner in Gothenburg on Wednesday that took Milan to the European Cup final, where they will play either Marseille from France or Rangers from Scotland. That match in Munich towards the end of May. A poor attempted cross by Iranio. Well, this must be difficult for the Inter fans to endure, because their side are just conceding midfield and looking to pick Milan off. But Bergami can't do that to Lentini. There's a slip by Manicone as well, which didn't help Inter, but Not enough Milan players in attack. Shalamov, Schilacci. Milan start again. The rain coming down and Milan going forward, both as relentless as each other. Gullit, Lentini, who's been back amongst the goals recently. Maldini. Look at the number of players back. It was a Ranio's shot. Gullit getting in a tangle. Tackler is there. Quite well named going into that particular tackle. But it's a holding operation for Inter. They have the lead, and it's just a matter now from their point of view. Obviously if they can put a counter-attack together they will, but trying to soak up all the attacking ideas of the league leaders. Here's Gullit. Albertini, Rijkaard. Maldini made a move to his left. Rijkaard didn't look in that direction. But now he picks out Massaro. Anyone rounded off for Milan. Gullit was in there. Lentini just a little late beyond the far post. But Daniele Massaro, who has been in and out of the starting lineup, but invariably used in every game, showing the possibilities that have come from his arrival. That's Shalamov having to really dig in there to get power into the ball, lift it away from a wet area of the pitch. Very close. Nava. Even when the two teams have been nearer the middle of the table than the top, there's always been a marvellous intensity about their meetings. But in these circumstances, everyone in the ground on the edge of their seats, and the millions more watching the match on television around the world. Lentini. Now where's it going to end up? Here! And that was the substitute tackler, rescuing Zenga, backpedaling the goalkeeper, unsure of where the ball was going to drop, and it would have dropped in. Flew up off Bergami from Lentini, but tackler heading over, and a corner it is to Milan. Oh, Zenga not there, and his view was masked. Gullit came across the line of vision then of Walter Zenga and certainly fooled the goalkeeper. What's Albertini going to come up with this time? First to it on the edge of the area, Schilacci. Shalamov to his left, moving to the right was Manicone, who gave it away. Massaro. Paganin. Well, the ball almost getting stuck in the centre of the pitch. It can hardly be much drier out on the flanks, but the turf might be less damaged. Everywhere you look, a study in concentration, agitation. Less than 10 minutes from Milan. Albertini. Every near miss. That much more frustrating to Fabio Capello, He'll be pleased with the way his players have worked at the second half. The initiative, in truth, handed to them by Inter's approach, although we scarcely expected anything different. Shalamov, Schillaci. Ruben Sosa switching the point here beautifully. And Berti has got round Rossi, but the flag was up. Paganin played it across, suddenly came in undetected, except by Ruben Sosa, who picked him out superbly. Must have been very close, but yes, perhaps Berti, well, it was a matter of inches too far forward. Milan have a free kick. They tried to be patient, they tried not to panic, and after all, should it stay this way to the final whistle, they still will have a 5-point cushion with still 7 games to go. Shouldn't be beyond them to retain the championship. A lot of sides would settle for that, but it's the fact that it's collapsed from 11 to 5 that would cause the worry, the lead. But it's not there yet. Albertini, not a good free kick. Bergami getting big cheers from the Inter fans with his clearance. It's not the kind of pitch on which you can try too much trickery at the back. Costa Curta got away with that. Helped on by Massaro. Now Gullit trying the shot, and Gullit! Milan raised their arms in triumph as though they'd won the championship itself, and this moment could well be construed as a championship settling goal. Mathematically it won't mean the title, but in terms of morale it means everything for Milan. And Ruben Gullit, about whom we've read so many footballing obituaries over the past couple of years, but he's very good in these situations, from difficult angles on the right-hand side on his right foot, and he found space there when Zenga must have believed he got the options covered. At last, the red and black is seen. And what will be the reaction from the two teams now? Will Inter suddenly decide they've still got one substitution they could make? Will they look for more attacking emphasis? A draw to them, well, it keeps their unbeaten run going. It restores a measure of local pride, but it surely means that they can't catch Milan. And it might be worse than a draw from the Inter point of view. Milan are in a rhythm of carrying the fight to this left-hand goal, which they've now finally found. And Gullit, who did find that almost, creating a second. And again, you could hardly ask questions about the fitness of the Dutchman. He has been a leading figure in this fight for an equaliser. And now for a winner. On a day when even Jean-Pierre Papin looked punchless in Milan's attack. It was a very direct goal, wasn't it? Long ball from Costa Curta. Massaro showing his value again with that little back header. It still asks a lot of Ruben Gullit, but he had the answer. And far less urgency about Milan at the taking of the free kicks now. Schillaci. Well, it was a pretty bold break to try and run with the ball in that part of the pitch. Not perhaps the wisest course either, but the attacker's instincts. Forward. Here's the rallying cry. Papa acting as chief encourager to his teammates there as Paganin took the throw. Charged down by Massaro. The whistle had gone against him. But there's no time for the free kick to be taken. The player who scored the goal in Gothenburg helped make the goal here, Daniele Massaro. But Ruben Gullit with a crucial contribution inside the final 10 minutes to equalise for Milan, who were chasing the game after Berti scored right on half-time. And for all Inter's effort, they remain unbeaten, of course. Surely Milan now will win the championship.
It was also derby day in Turin. Juventus, short of goals and confidence, put Gianluca Vialli on the bench. Pierluigi Casiraghi recovered from his injury playing for Italy in February. Casiraghi soon in the thick of the fray. And from Ravanelli's deep cross, Casiraghi's header down. Antonio Conte beating Luca Fusi and then thrashing the ball past Marchegiani, 9 minutes gone. Torino almost level here. Casagrande angling Fortunato's header just wide. But Conte's contribution was growing further in significance, catching out Torino again here. Marchegiani off his line just in time. But then after 28 minutes, a Torino equaliser. Venturin's shot ricocheting towards Aguilera. His miss kick fooling Torricelli, his second attempt good enough to score. But 9 minutes from time, with Vialli on for Ravanelli, Juventus won the pride and the points. Robbie Baggio believed his header had crossed the line, but the referee confirmed that Conte, following up, was the scorer. What a time for his first league goals for Juventus. A 2-1 victory matching their UEFA Cup semi-final first leg win over Paris Saint-Germain 5 days earlier. Lazio in third place, Foggia fighting for their Serie A survival. Paul Gascoigne in the clear here, but not quite past goalkeeper Mancini, as Lazio was starting to celebrate. The two other Lazio foreigners found the way 17 minutes before half-time. Karl-Heinz Friedler climbing splendidly to Aaron Winter's cross. Foggia fought back. Bresciani's clever pass, David Cenzo reaching it before Orsi, 1-1, 11 minutes after half-time. And Mancini made sure of the draw with a reflex stop from Winter. Foggia have now lost only 1 in 7. Lazio have won only once over the same period. Parma enjoyed a wonderful 2-1 away win against Atletico Madrid in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final first leg. Faustino Asprilla, their hero in Spain. Napoli fouling the Colombian and sent off for his reaction to the referee's decision after only 13 minutes. Bad judgment and then bad luck. Kiricano deflecting Thomas Brolin's shot over Yelpo 3 minutes later. All credit to Cagliari. Francescoli and Mattioli carved out this equaliser for Herrera. But 6 minutes before half-time, an amazing goal by Minotti. And Parma didn't slip up a second time in these sodden conditions. And Asprilla continued his own sensational spell, Yelpo getting it all wrong. Asprilla's aim unerring, 3-1. You couldn't say the same about Brolin. When Melli was brought down by Beasley, Yelpo saving the Swedish international's penalty. But at home and abroad, Parma invincible at the moment, 6 successive victories in League and Cup Winners' Cup. Napoli's improvement has had them dreaming about European qualification rather than worrying about relegation. The dream looking closer to reality when Gianfranco Zola and Jonas Tern caught Sampdoria asleep at a short corner, and Zola bounced a shot past Pagliuca. Giovanni Galli earned his money at the expense of Mannini. But after 27 minutes, slack marking in front of the Napoli goalkeeper allowed Attilio Lombardo to slot in an equaliser for Sampdoria. Napoli needed victory to continue their climb. They'll still be wondering how Pagliuca protected his goal from Daniel Fonseca here. And how they also failed to score against 10 men for the last 11 minutes. Vierkovod sent off for knocking down Fonseca. Napoli won, Sampdoria won. Atalanta's European ambitions damaged by 7 matches without victory. Their problems small though compared to Pescara's, the nervousness of the bottom club apparent here. De Julis heading against his own post. Pescara got away with it thanks to Alfieri blocking when Rambaudi was well placed to score. But after 16 minutes, Pescara struck a stunning shot from Allegri. Then the Colombian striker Valenciano was brought on by Atalanta. He should have equalised early in the second half. Pescara still sensing a rare win. Ferron in the firing line from Dunga, and then from a ferocious follow-up by Palladini. And all eyes on referee Pellegrino here, but Pescara's appeals for a penalty answered in the negative. "17 minutes to go. Pescara couldn't hold out though. Minardo and Rodriguez with a classy 1-2, and Minardo making the score 1-1. And 2 minutes later, Rodriguez, the Argentinian midfield player, involved again. Mauricio Gantz gathering up his 12th goal of the season. Pescara also had goalkeeper Savorani sent off for bringing down Valenciano. With both substitutes used, Massara had to go in goal for the final minutes. Atalanta were expecting a win, but they had an agonising wait for it. Pescara propping up the table, Ancona only 1 place above them. Roma scored first in a match which produced little except 2 goals in a 3-minute spell in the second half. Handball by the Ancona defender Mazzarano after 61 minutes, spotted well by referee Rodimonti, and the penalty taken well enough by Giuseppe Giannini, his 8th goal of this season. But the lead was lost when Cervone made a hash of holding a shot from De Tari. Lupo just beating Aldair to the ball to equalise. Ancona 1, Roma 1. Still down amongst the strugglers, a match neither of these sides could afford to lose. Fiorentina faced one of their former goalkeepers, Marco Landucci, who was inspired by this superb double save from Carobi and then Batistuta. Batistuta might have done better here. He shot out of the reach of Landucci and out of harm's way for Brescia. 8 minutes before half-time, Baiano with a brilliant run, and Brian Laudrup left with a simple goal. And 8 minutes after half-time, it was 2-0. Orlando's cross, Batistuta scoring, but getting a yellow card for celebrating excessively. It was followed by another later in the game, and off he went, part of an infuriating collapse by Fiorentina. Maragini saving well from Sabao, but beaten twice in 2 minutes. Hadji hitting the target via a slight deflection off Di Mauro, and then Maragini's mistake giving Radu Choyu full reward for following up. Fiorentina did hit the bar in injury time from Pioli, but all in all, they committed suicide in the second half. Genoa and Udinese also trying to avoid sinking into the second division, a predictably tense encounter. Udinese well served by Delano and Mattei, who combined here. Mattei unlucky with an enterprising effort. All over Italy, it was a difficult day for goalkeepers. In greasy conditions, Di Sarno of Udinese not immune to error. The scorer, Franco, who usually gets his goals from much further out. Into the second half, Genoa trying again to show that they are good enough to stay in Serie A. Di Sarno doing well this time from Caricola, whose follow-up cross was just too high for Thomas Scurabi. Udinese played the last 23 minutes with 10 men. Desideri sent off for pulling down the substitute Arco. Genoa and Udinese now level on 23 points. Genoa remain in the relegation area on goal difference. In fact, no change in any of the bottom 8 places, but Cagliari fall into the lower half of the table after their defeat at Parma, emphasising again how close it is outside the top 2 and the lowest 2 clubs. Still a lot of drama to come over the relegation issue. Parma's spectacular rise continues, now above Lazio into 3rd place. Juventus not only beating Torino, but swapping places with them, avenging their recent loss to their great rivals in the semi-finals of the Italian Cup. 7 games to go and 7 points clear You really cannot see Milan slumping now. Yet with only 7 minutes left in the San Siro derby, the signs were very different. Then a goal which settled Milan's nerves and almost certainly settled the championship. Gullit, written off so often recently, still very much a hero.